Hello everybody, how you guys doing? My name is Mark. This is Why I Hate the World. So, we have had a very busy week as far as politics goes. One of the more entertaining weeks, I must say. We got a nice little start off with Alex Jones losing his case and completely humiliating himself and then possibly committing perjury. That was funny. I was thinking I might cover that, but then the FBI had to go and raid Donald Trump. Now, I'm kind of tired of talking about Trump because, I've made literally like 50 videos about Trump. He was the president and everything. But this one, I think we need to cover because it's pretty big, pretty important. There's a reason why it's been in the news every single day, like this week since this shit happened, right? Ex-presidents usually do not get held accountable for anything, like at all, for any prior crimes whatsoever, right? And, let's be clear, plenty of ex-presidents have committed plenty of crimes. Shit. Ronald Reagan, fucking Iran-Contra, right? Bill Clinton was, investigated for, all kinds of stuff. I'm sure there was something there in the dozens of Clinton scandals that probably mattered, probably warranted, some kind of prosecution. George W. Bush started a goddamn war on false evidence, like phony baloney evidence. Got away with it. How many people died because of that? We don't even know how many Iraqis died because of George W. Bush's, lie about the Iraq War. So, there's all kinds of, war crimes and shit. It's like there's all kinds of, things in the past where, in my opinion at least, plenty of ex-presidents should have been sent to the gulag, right? But this one seems to be particularly egregious. This time it looks like, okay, you've just kind of stepped a little bit too far. Trump is just sort of, it seems like Donald Trump has been able to just rely on his position and money and power and just get away with everything. The guy was impeached twice for good reason in both of those instances. Let's not be mistaken there. I'm not saying he didn't do it. It's like, no, man, he should have been fucking impeached. And the only reason he wasn't impeached, convicted, right, was because the Republican establishment refused. That's the only reason, If Donald Trump was a Democrat, he would have been convicted. Let's remember that, right? Both of the impeachment trials, there was substance there. The first one was, basically blackmailing Ukraine in order to dig up dirt on his political opponent. That's against the law. You're not allowed to do that. Second one was fucking starting an insurrection and trying to literally steal the fucking election. Yeah, he did that shit, okay? And then, you had, all the other, investigations, the Russia investigation, ultimately nothing was pinned on Trump from that, but lots of his key players went to, were convicted of that. There was definitely wrongdoing in there. And then, let's not forget all the other crazy stuff he's got going on with, real estate scams in the in New York and all that. The New York Attorney General investigating him for basically overvaluing his properties, that kind of thing. That shit's illegal, And so far, he's been able to get off because he's rich. Let's not bullshit ourselves, folks. That's why Donald Trump is free right now. That's why he's not spending the rest of his life in a cell with, iron bars in front of him, making prison hooch and shit because he's rich, right? Well, looks like there's a limit as to how much money and power can protect you. And it looks like that limit is when you fucking take top secret nuclear, like documents that have to deal with like nuclear weapons. Right? Looks like that's when finally the establishment, can no longer cover for your ass because you're a billionaire. And this time, this shit's important. I think Donald Trump is going to prison, is what I think. Now, what exactly happened, right? Because let's do a quick once over because some of my viewers I look from the demographics that YouTube gives me, and some of the people that watch my show are from other countries. And then, some of you guys just might not have been paying attention because, shit happens in the news and you have a real life that you have to deal with. You have, bills and shit to pay. Who has time to sit there and watch the news all day, right? So this is what happened. This past Monday, the FBI raided Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, right? Mar-a-Lago is, of course, Donald Trump's golf resort that he technically was not allowed to live in as his chief residence, but somehow he got around that because, he's rich, and rich people get what they want in the United States. So that's kind of fucked up. But anyway, they apparently showed up, and apparently this was an unannounced raid. As in, now, I'm hearing conflicting things about that, because some things I'm hearing say that Trump's lawyers actually did have foreknowledge that this was going to happen. Some things I'm reading are saying that they didn't have foreknowledge, or they knew that they were going to come, but they didn't know when. And some other things I'm reading are saying that, well, it had to be unannounced because they didn't want Trump or somebody to destroy the evidence, right? Because they had a pretty good intel on where this evidence was and where it was located. And if they called ahead, then the Trump people would just move it or destroy it or something like that. So I'm not exactly sure what the actual truth is, but it seems like the prevailing narrative, seems like most of the stories I'm reading is that this was unannounced and they just showed up. And they timed it to be in such a time as to when Trump himself wasn't present, right? At least that's what it looks like. He wasn't there. And the FBI came and they had a warrant and spent about 9 hours searching for classified documents. And what they were looking for were boxes of classified documents that Trump just decided to take home with them after he left office last year, right? And this is in violation of the Presidential Records Act, right? I think is what it is, where basically any communications, any emails, any phone calls, any piece, memos, stuff like that, all has to be saved, right? And this was something that, partially it's so that they create, what they do is they create a presidential library from the non-classified documents so people can go look them up, stuff like that. And then partially it's to keep the president accountable, so that they can't hide evidence of possible crimes. That's why this law exists, right? So, but it's not just for the president. It's like pretty much like every branch of the government is subject to this law. I think, is it called the Presidential Records Act? I might be wrong is what it's actually called. Loud Shank. Sorry, did not see your message there. It wasn't classified info, it was just text messages with his grandkids. Yeah, okay. Sure it was. Anyway, so that's the reason, right? But apparently Donald Trump took some things that, because here's the thing, right? So if you go on, say, the conservative parts of Reddit or True Social or Gab or any sort of social media in the right-wing alternative universe media sphere, you'll start seeing excuses, just like Loud Shark here gave an excuse. It wasn't classified info, it was just text messages with his grandkids. I mean, I don't know. It kind of sounds like you're just trolling there, but yeah. But that I actually have been seeing that kind of excuse coming from the right wing here, and it's like, apparently not. Apparently, Donald Trump took some very highly classified information, some of it having to do with nuclear weapons, which is like the highest, like, classified, like, you can't get more classified than nuclear weapons, right? Some of these had the label TS/SCI. What does that mean exactly? That means the TS stands for top secret. SCI is sort of like a enhancer. You know what I mean? A qualifier. Like, basically, it means sensitive compartmented information. SCI. And apparently, this is the highest of the high when it comes to classified info. Like, you can't get any more classified than this particular level, right? Apparently, what that means is that sometimes, like, I guess from what I'm reading and some of the videos I'm watching about what that means, because I mean, I'm not a fucking expert at any of this shit, right? But from what I'm seeing, apparently that means that you're only allowed to look at this document in a specifically, like, designed room that is designed to keep people from spying on you. And it's like, you can only open it in this room, and you can only look at it in this room, and this room has, like, electronic countermeasures so that, no, there's like no listening devices and shit. Like, apparently this is like the kind of crap that like fucking spy like novels are made out of. Like, this is like James Bond level shit, right? This is like the top secret plans that James Bond, like, and like Ethan Hunt, like, descend through the fucking air vents and shit and dodge lasers and stuff in order to get like pictures of, and then they like store it in microfilm in their teeth and shit. You know what I mean? That's what this is. This is like super high level stuff. It's not just like pictures of Trump hanging out with Kim Jong Il or whatever, or mementos or menus or that something like that, or the picture of the time that Trump like went to Japan or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, or the personal note that the Saudi royal prince gave to Trump. No. It's not like that. These are not just like innocent mementos. These are like, it's some big time shit. This is stuff that if it was anybody else, they wouldn't bother giving them time to return it. The FBI would just show up and crash through the windows like fucking, you know what I mean? Like if you or I took this, they'd be like battering down our door and then grabbing you and sending your ass off to fucking Guantanamo Bay. Like, that's how bad this shit is. And the only reason they're not doing that is because Trump is an ex-president. And, so they give him the courtesy of having the option of returning it. And that's the other thing about this. Apparently, they actually asked him nicely to return this shit, and he didn't. They've been in contact with him since, like, what was it, February of this year, trying to get this material back. And the story is that Trump was keeping this material, like, it was something like 12 boxes. 11 boxes have already been returned, and 12 more boxes were found. So it's like, he already, that's how much shit he took. He took like 25 boxes worth of like fucking top secret shit. Like, Jesus, are you fucking serious? Like, it's unbelievable, right? And they've been asking him to get it back, right? And he's just been lagging and not giving it to him. And so they finally decided to go fucking get it, because the story is he was keeping this shit in his basement behind an unlocked door at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, I don't think, the conservatives out there, I don't think you guys understand, like, what a major fucking break, like, this would be for, like, Russian intelligence, for Chinese intelligence. Like, I mean, Mar-a-Lago is not a government facility. Anybody can just pay and join. All it takes is some money, and then you can join the club. So all they had to fucking do was just pay Donald Trump however much the entry fee is, and they could have however many fucking spies there are. I mean, it would be like, I like if you were like they would not be doing their jobs right if they didn't have spies there. If the Chinese and the Russians didn't have spies at Mar-a-Lago, they would be like incompetent if they didn't have spies all over that place. Right? It's unbelievable. And the fact that this shit was just sitting there, and then apparently, like, they had to tell Trump's lawyers to put a padlock on the door. So the fucking door is just straight up open. This top secret shit that's like the most top secret of top secret, just hanging out in a fucking, like, basement next to the fucking, like, Christmas, like, ornaments and shit. Right? Like, for any fucking, like, anybody to just walk in and take a bunch of, like, pictures of. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They could have got a spy in there, and he could have got a job as a goddamn janitor and just walked down there like, oh, I'm just dusting off the boxes. And they could have got all that info. I mean, who even knows what's in those boxes? Who even knows what foreign intelligence, like what a boon to other foreign intelligence agencies this has been? I mean, the CIA right now must be fucking shitting their pants right now, trying to control this debacle. Right? It's unbelievable. And the fact that they didn't do shit about it until now, until like a year later, is absolutely fucking mind-blowing. And yeah, I know why they didn't. You know why they didn't do it? Because he's president, and he's like, an ex-president, and he's like still super popular, and they knew that it would cause a giant shitstorm. That's why they did it. And this is why we're fucked. Because even now, like, so they finally went and they raided the fucking place, right? Finally. They finally managed to keep, to give Donald Trump the barest semblance of accountability. Remember, he hasn't been, like, arrested yet for this. He has not been arrested. If it was me or you, we'd be in a hole already with, like, fucking electrodes, like, we'd be in a hole with electrodes on our nuts, and they'd be, like, torturing us to find out who fucking saw this shit if it was me or you. But since it's Donald Trump and he's rich, and he managed to scam his way into being a president, they're treating him with fucking kid gloves. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. So here's the excuses. Hive Science, hey, what's going on, man? Can we coin the sexy expression, I'm gonna raid your Mar-a-Lago? Can you imagine going up to a girl in a bar like, what's up, baby? I'm gonna raid your Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, right. I don't have game. Anyway, I'm married. I don't need to worry about hitting on random strangers no more. So anyway, so now you're starting to see all of these, now that they know that this is some serious shit, because it is, right? Because this is what happened, right? Raid happens. All of the conservative pundits and talking heads started making excuses for it, saying shit like, oh, this is unprecedented, this has never happened to any other president, blah, 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 all this other baloney. And then they started screaming for them to release the warrant. Release the warrant, because this was the ploy, right? Because right now, Donald Trump and the conservative establishment is basically throwing anything they can at the wall to see what sticks. So their first sort of diversion from this was to say, release the warrant. Oh, the FBI won't release the warrant. How come they won't release the warrant? And then, because then they could speculate and be like, It wasn't about anything anyway. It was, if it was so important, why wouldn't they tell us? Well, here, my friends, is the actual warrant. Let's move this over here. Let's turn on my main window. And this here, I'll put this down in the chat for you guys. This is the actual warrant itself from Politico. Scroll down and you got the PDF right here. Notice of filing of redacted documents. Right. It's only 7 pages long, so we can kind of, let's just make this a little bit bigger. We can kind of just, I'm not going to read every single line of this, obviously, but let's just sort of skim through it. Seach and Searcher warrant, you're commanded to blah, blah, blah. It tells you when it happened, all that other stuff. Goes down here, tells you the premises to be searched, and it says locations to be searched include the 45 office, which is, of course, Trump's office, all storage rooms, and all other rooms or areas within the premises or available or used by former President of the United States. That's what the F is there for. And his staff. Blah, 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 blah. Right. Let's go down. So this is what they're looking for. Physical documents, information, along with any containers, boxes, blah, blah, blah. Information, including communications in any form regarding the retrieval, storage, or transmission of national defense information or classified material. That means they got all of Donald Trump's emails. They took his phones, text messages, shit like that. Governmental presidential records created between this time. Number C, item C here, of course, is the time Donald Trump was president. Or evidence of the knowing alteration, destruction, or concealment of any government and or presidential records. Or documents with classified markings. That's what they were looking for, right? Here's what they found. Receipt of property. The receipt of property means these are the things that they actually took from Mar-a-Lago, right? So they got 4 loose documents. How many boxes here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they got 5 boxes there, right? Executive grant of clemency for Roger Stone. So Donald Trump took the pardon that he gave to Roger Stone. He took that. Info regarding the President of France. Leather-bound box of documents. Various classified TSSCI documents. 2A. Right there. It doesn't let me highlight that. That's the big one. That's the one that is going to put... Let's make that a little bit bigger so you guys can, read that. Right? Oh, I guess it doesn't get bigger. I guess it didn't really zoom in. Maybe I can zoom in there we go. Yeah. You see that one right there? Where is that? Various classified TSSCI documents right there. There you go. 2A. That's the one that is going to fuck Donald Trump up. Right. Let's make that. That's too big. Okay. Other things, potential presidential record, binder of photos, notes, blah, blah, blah. More boxes, miscellaneous secret documents, miscellaneous top secret documents, more miscellaneous top secret documents, confidential documents, more boxes. So you can see, no, this wasn't just a couple of photos or text messages with his grandkids in it. This wasn't just him absconding with the, presidential, menu or some shit like that, right? Or taking the desk, blotter or, whatever. No. This is boxes and boxes of shit. Top secret. Secret, top secret, TSSC. So this is some bad shit here, okay? This is stuff, and it's a lot. Look how much it is. I mean, 2 pages of fucking boxes here, right? So let's close that down. We don't need this anymore. I should probably zoom back out too. Hang on 1 second, guys. Zoom out, 100%. So, yeah, this is nothing to fucking sneeze at. This is not just, and I think fucking Teflon Don is just lost his fucking Teflon coating. There is a very good chance that because of this, Donald Trump spends the rest of his life in prison. I mean, how old is he now? 74? How old is Donald Trump now? I think he's 74, right? Let's see. He is. How old is he? How old is he? 76, right? He goes to prison for 10 years. That's the rest of his life. I mean, he's probably going to be dead within the next decade. He at most has another 6, maybe 7 years left. You know, he's a 76-year-old guy, eats fucking McDonald's all the time, doesn't work out, right? He's doesn't have a lot of time left. Right? He could very well die in prison. How much, what's the word for that? Schadenfreude, right? The German word where you laugh at somebody else's misfortune. How I don't know, how awesome would that be if Donald Trump actually spent the rest of his fucking life in prison? That would be the best ever. Anyway, so that's bad shit. So here's the thing about this, right? The defense that Donald Trump is giving now is that he declassified all of these things before he took them. That's the defense. So first the defense was he didn't take them, right? Let's keep that in mind too, right? The right wing, the conservative establishment is moving the goalposts like crazy here because they're doing the throw everything but the kitchen sink and see what sticks defense because they know that they don't actually have a defense, right? So first they were saying, oh, he didn't take them. Then the warrant comes out and it shows that he took them, right? Then he was saying, well, now they're going like, well, he declassified these because he was the president and the president gets to decide what's classified. That's not exactly true. Most of the time, with most classified documents, the president can decide to declassify them, right? Certain things he cannot. Those things that the president cannot declassify have to do with nuclear weapons and also documents dealing with intelligence sources. Just so happens some of these documents, I mean, the story is they have to deal with nuclear weapons. So no, he does not get to declassify those. And here's the other thing. Even if he did declassify them, he would have to do it before he left office, right? Because there's a process. You have to actually go. It's not just like the president wakes up one day, gets on a loudspeaker, and is like, this is now declassified. No. They have to, it has to go through a process. There has to be like, written confirmation, right? That these things are declassified, right? It has to go through the declassification process. So that just doesn't work. And the person now, if he didn't go through that process, the person now who gets to decide if those documents are classified or not is Joe Biden. The sitting president gets to decide what is and what isn't classified, not an ex-president. Okay? So that shit doesn't work anymore. That's like, that excuse, toss that shit right out the window. That's bullshit. Anyway, so then, since that excuse didn't work, now there's the MAGA chuds are kind of like in overdrive, trying to come up with anything they can. Donald Trump's latest excuse as of yesterday is that this evidence was planted. Here is let me just hit accept. This is Donald Trump's phony, baloney, idiotic Twitter ripoff, Truth Social. I'll put this down for here if you guys want to actually read this for yourselves, although I recommend never going to Truth Social because it is cancer on a computer screen. But here we go. This is Donald Trump's. As you can see, I do not have a Truth Social account, so I'm not logging in here. This is real Donald Trump's post. The FBI and others from the federal government would not let anyone, including my lawyers, be anywhere near the areas that were rummaged and otherwise looked at during the raid on Mar-a-Lago. I love how it's like he has to put rummaged and otherwise looked at. It's like just rummaged is good enough. Like Donald Trump is a bad writer. You're over describing. Like anyway, everyone was asked to leave the premises. They wanted to be left alone without any witnesses to see what they were doing, taking, or hopefully not planting, in quotes. Why did they strongly, capital letters, insist on having nobody watching them, everybody out? Obama and Clinton were never raided despite big disputes. Yeah. So you can see the excuses flying here. Oh, they're planting evidence. Do we have any evidence that the FBI planted evidence? No. They have no. There's no basis in fucking reality for that accusation. It's just a smear. He's throwing it out there so that his base can latch onto it and make excuses for him. Right, that's what it is. Right. Then also, you want to notice at the bottom, he's got a little bit of whataboutism going here with Obama and Clinton. Fuck you, True Social. We are not showing notifications. Get the fuck out. Obama and Clinton were never raided despite big disputes. So, what dispute are we talking about with Hillary Clinton? Well, they mean the buttery mails. Right? The buttery emails, right? Which is a completely different situation. And yeah, you know what? It's wrong. Okay. Hillary Clinton should not have been using let's turn this shit off, right? Hillary Clinton should not have been using a private server for her emails, right? Please keep in mind that everything Hillary did is fly shit compared to what Donald Trump did with this taking of classified documents, right? It's not even on the same planet as far as like, you know, importance goes, right? That's the first thing. Second thing, the Trump team kind of did the exact same shit that Hillary did when they used unsecured phones. Because what did they complain about Hillary Clinton about, right? She had a server that had that she used her own private server for official government emails, right? Donald Trump did something very similar to that, right? Using unsecured emails. They did that. Yes, they did. Right? They used unsecured phones constantly, right? There's a reason why you're supposed to use secured phones. It's because they don't want people like spying on you. And the Trump team did the exact same shit where they just they used things like Gmail, right? They used phones that were not like, approved and shit by like the fucking intelligence people. So, but that's small potatoes though, compared to what Trump is like accused of. Let's keep that in mind. That all of that stuff is like, that's the equivalent of like, jaywalking versus like being a mass shooter. All right, like Donald Trump's like crime is like the worst fucking like violation of like, I mean it's basically fucking espionage. Like people get executed. Like didn't they execute like, in the 50s, what were their names? Like James and Ethel Rosenberg or whatever. Like didn't those people get like executed for like, mishandling nuclear secrets in the 50s? Right? This is some bad shit. It's like, so no, that whataboutism just, it doesn't fly. It's like, no, complete bullshit. And then and then he said Obama. What the fuck is Obama accused of? Obama didn't fucking, is there any truth to that claim at all that Obama like, mishandled official records? No. Not at all. He just made that up out of like thin air. It's complete bullshit. Complete total 100% horseshit, right? Of course, the Trump people in MAGA world have taken the bait on this. Because of course they have, because they don't have to, like, here's the thing about all of this stuff, right? When it comes to conspiracy theorists, especially, like, of all types, conspiracy theorists of all types, but especially Republicans, because, like, and especially, like, MAGA chuds, like, it's all conspiracy theories now when it comes to these people, when it comes to, like, conservatives and, like, Trump's base. Pretty much everything these people believe is a conspiracy theory, right? And when I say conspiracy theory, I mean unfounded, untrue bullshit with zero proof that has no basis in fucking reality that you can disprove with 5 nanoseconds of fucking Googling. Right? That's what I mean when I say conspiracy theories. Right? So, all he has to do, here's the thing about that, all he has to do is say it, and they'll believe it. So now there are going to be people out there who will believe until the day they die that the FBI raided Donald Trump because it was for political reasons, because it was, the conspiracy, of course, is that, they know he's going to win in 2024. So now they're planting evidence and Joe Biden is using the FBI in order to knock him out. Because if he gets arrested for this and convicted, then he won't be able to run for president. That's a conspiracy theory that I'm seeing. Just go to the conservative parts of Reddit, go to like Gab and shit like that. This is what's shaping up. This is how they're framing the narrative. That this was, of course, a hit job in order to stop him from running for president. Right? Which is 100% total bullshit of the highest order. The president of the United States cannot direct what the FBI investigates. That's not possible. They cannot do that. Right? It's set up in such a way that he has no ability to influence that. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they actually, like, are responsible for the Soviet Union having nuclear weapons, right, Dynacat? Thanks. I mean, I'm not like an expert on the history there, but I know that they were executed for that shit, like whatever the espionage that they did. I mean, I don't know if Trump's crime here hits that level where it warrants like execution, but one of the few things that the federal government can execute somebody for is, espionage, right? It's my understanding, like, they don't actually execute people for very much, but espionage is one of those things. I don't know. I'll have to read up now on Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. I just, this is just something that, I mean, I know the kind of, sort of, I think I read about it once years ago in history class or something. Anyway. So, yeah. It's bad shit. Of course, the Trump sycophants have instantly jumped on this whole planting the evidence thing. Here's Donald Trump's lawyer, Christina Bobb. Let me just pause that. Let's bring this over here. Let's make this bigger. And then turn on my main window. And let's see. This is Christina Bobb. Oh, wait. Crap. You know what I need to do? I need to just quit being lazy and just set up all the, like, scenes. Like nope, shut up. In OBS Studio, you can set up like little transition scenes and stuff, I just need to like do that one day. There we go. Okay, so this is her. Let's just make that a little smaller so that YouTube doesn't kill my stream. Trump lawyer at Mar-a-Lago during raid. This is Christina Bobb here. Let's see what she has to say.
I don't think that there was actually anything there that's worthwhile. We'll see what they come up with. If they did, it'll be interesting, especially since they precluded me from actually watching what they did. But at this point, I don't necessarily think that they would even go to the extent of trying to plant information. I think they just make stuff up and, come up with whatever they want. And that's the way that they will have to proceed in order to actually try to indict the president, because they don't have anything. There's just nothing there. So I don't think that there was actually any.
Make stuff up. Uh-huh. So, kind of, jumping on the bandwagon there, right? The FBI is making stuff up. They don't have anything. Remember, we just saw the warrant. We just looked at the warrant to show what they actually took away. Those things are not things that they made up. Okay. No. No. It's spin. This is how they're spinning it. They're spinning it as the FBI is planting evidence. This is all they're spinning it like, this is all a political witch hunt. Russia, witch hunt and all that stuff. And then in real life, when you actually see what actually happened, when you actually see, like, oh, this is the warrant. Oh, look what they have. Oh, it says top secret fucking, most top secret of top secret stuff, TSSCI or whatever. Not exactly looking so good for the former president. Here's Jesse Waters. Let me here's a let's put this down in the chat for you guys here as well. This is Jesse Waters on Fox News claiming the FBI used doctored evidence to frame Donald Trump. First, let's make that big. Let's turn back on our window. Oh, wrong one. There we go. So Jesse Waters on filling in for Tucker Carlson here is about to make some very wild, unsubstantiated claims. Let's see what the man has to say.
These are bloodthirsty savages who want to see you humiliated and violated. This is a threat to anybody who opposes them. Look what we can do to you. We can even storm into your president's home and take whatever we want, and he can't do anything about it. Even Trump's most dedicated hater.
Just want to point that out. Look what we can do to you, right? They could already do this to you if you stole classified documents. Like, let's keep that in mind, right? So all of these people who are losing their minds over this, right, are basically defending they're defending Donald Trump because he is an ex-president. If Donald Trump, and he's rich, and he's a, fucking cult leader, but that's for another story. Just remember, if Donald Trump was a low-level staffer, they'd be throwing the book at his ass. And first off, if he was a Democrat, they'd be throwing the book at his ass. But if he was just like anybody except who he is, they would be all over him, like saying that he should be in prison and all that stuff, right? If he was like, a senator, right? If he was one of the cabinet, if he was a cabinet member, like if Mick Mulvaney, for example, took shit home like this, they'd be like throwing him under the bus in a nanosecond, If it was fucking like, Michael Flynn or something, or like, whatever, like, right? They'd be like dumping him, they'd be calling for his head. They'd be calling him a traitor, But just want to see, I just want to point out though, this the fear mongering there. Look what they can do to you, right? Every person who is defending Trump right here is basically telling us all that the law does not apply when you're rich and powerful. They're self-serving sycophants is what they are. And they're doing it for political reasons. Okay. Do you think if this was Barack Obama who did this, do you think that they'd be defending him in that same way? You think they'd be saying shit like, oh, this is all, unprecedented, blah, blah, blah? Hell no. No. They'd be chomping at the bit to throw him in prison. And here's the thing. Do you think the Democratic establishment would defend Barack Obama if he did this? Hell no. Hell no. They might not be as rabid in wanting to put him in jail, but no, Democrats do not make excuses for shit like this. Not really. When it comes out, Democrats actually hold their people accountable when they do shit like this. They don't brush it under the rug, right? And we can see examples of that over and over, time and time again. You know, Anthony Weiner, right? Fucking, perfect example right there. Al Franken, another example. Like, what was that other guy, Conyers? No, it happens all the time, right? Democrats eat their own constantly. Democrats 86 people constantly. If it even looks like they might have the smallest hint of impacting them negatively politically, right? Republicans circle the wagons, which is, in some respect, I think Democrats should start doing that too, in a little bit, when it's warranted. But for this, hell no. I don't even think I can't. This would never, this something with this important. I don't think the Democratic establishment would look the other way. Not even close. Let's just keep that in mind here. That this guy is not, they're all lying. Every single one of these talking head conservative pundits that we're watching here, they're all lying. They're self-serving bastards, every last one of them. Moving on.
Aren't comfortable with this type of action. Andrew Cuomo said, DOJ must immediately explain the reason for its raid. It must be more than a search for inconsequential archives, or it will be viewed as a political tactic and undermine any future credible investigation and legitimacy of January 6th investigations.
That one aged well. So that was, of course, put out before the warrant became public. So this is when all of the Republicans and stuff were screaming that they should release the warrant, release the warrant. Looks like that one didn't really work out the way that you guys thought it would, didn't it? Moving on.
And not everybody in the media is on board with these tactics. Watch.
This, I'm hoping, goes beyond simply not complying with some archiving.
Now, let's just, what did you just say? Not everybody in the media is on board with these tactics. Tactic. The word that he said, right, makes it sound like it was a planned, makes it sound like this was something that came from the top. It's a tactic in order to get rid of Donald Trump. It's not holding Donald Trump accountable for crimes that he may have committed. A tactic is something you do when you're going after somebody, not something you do when you're doing your job the right way, right? It's all a conspiracy. They're leaning so heavily hard into the it's all a conspiracy angle, so that their viewers will look the other way and still pull that lever for Republicans. It's incredibly disingenuous. Anyway.
Laws, or DOJ just handed Donald Trump the Republican nominee and potentially the presidency. If it's seen as some sort of massive overreach and not something incredibly serious, this is a very good day for Donald Trump.
To send this kind of FBI team to the former president's home, there has to be something more than just a Presidential Records Act violation.
This does step on Democrats.
Looks like there was more. There was way more than a Presidential Records Act violation. See? This is what happens when you open your mouth before you get all the facts. This is part of the reason why I don't tend to make reaction videos when it comes to stuff like this anymore. Like, occasionally I'll make like a hot take video once in a while, but it's always good to wait, I think, a few days, because here's the thing, right? The YouTube algorithm rewards people who put out content every single day, right? So you see people putting out content every day, commenting on everything that happens every day, blah, 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 when it comes to politics and shit like that, right? First off, I don't have time for that, because, I have, like, a fucking day job, so I can't be, like, sitting here making videos every fucking day. I'll never, like, get anything done. Secondly, it's sort of like, well, when you do that, then, unless you're going to like follow up when new developments happen, then your video becomes outdated because you don't have all the facts, right? And that's kind of what's happening here. Well, these people spoke before, you know, before they had all the facts. They're like, oh, this turns out to be a nothing burger. Then, then the FBI like unseals the warrant, and it's like the fucking exact opposite of a nothing burger. This is a double fucking Big Mac with like, a fried egg and a squid on top. Right? There's a fucking brontosaurus burger up in this motherfucker. Like, this is like the fucking burger that, like, the big ass thing of ribs that they put on the side of, like, Fred Flintstone's car that makes it flip over and shit. So, kind of, I don't know. That's why I always wait a few days, at least a day, to see if any more information comes out before I don't know. Maybe that's why I'll never, like, get as many viewers and stuff on YouTube, because I don't put out, reaction videos to shit every single day. I don't know. Maybe I should start doing that. Anyway.
Victory lap a little bit. As far as what Republicans are saying, they think that this is going to be very good for Republicans.
Biden's political terrorist attack against the candidate he's about to face off against shows Joe knows he can't win fair.
Wow, that sentence right there is very telling. Biden's political terrorist attack. Let's listen to what he just said one more time, because that was like... Here we go, right here, right? Let's listen to that one more time.
Biden's political terrorist attack against the candidate he's about to face off against shows Joe knows he can't win fair.
Biden's political terrorist attack against a candidate he's about to face off against shows he knows he can't win fair. That is the most loaded fucking sentence. First off, Biden already beat Trump once. Let's remember that, right? Why would that change? I don't know why anybody thinks that, Trump versus Biden round 2 is going to be any different. Okay, like, it's been 4 years. Are you going to vote to have this shit show back? Or are you going to keep somebody who at least is, like, a halfway, like, competent president? Like, fuck no. 4 years is not... dude, seriously. It's not going to change my mind. It's not going to change the mind of anybody who voted for Joe Biden. It's not going to change their minds, right? Joe Biden got like 9 million more votes than Donald Trump did. Like, okay. And people who are turning, 18 now, who are going to vote for the first time, who have never, they're not going to vote for Donald Trump now, not after all of this shit. So, not after, the Republicans fucking outlawed abortion. So, fuck no. Why I don't understand why the conservatives think they're going to win. Why they think this is going to help Donald Trump. I don't get it. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll shore him up with his base a little bit. But his base wasn't enough. He lost. So that's the first thing. Second thing... Just like you said right there, like crafting that narrative that it's all a witch hunt. Oh, this is Biden. No, he knows he can't win. It's a political terrorist attack. Just listen to that language. Associating Biden with terrorism, number one. Number two, associating this with this is all like somehow he gave an order in order for this to he ordered the FBI to do this. Like, it's bullshit. And, they know it's going to piss the base. He knows that the base is going to eat it up because Republicans are fucking stupid. And they think everything is like a conspiracy. It's like the contempt for his own viewers is absolutely astounding. And what makes it doubly worse is that it's going to work. They're going to get pissed off. They're going to go and, it will motivate them. Right? And, keep those viewers fucking coming back every week and keep them voting Republican. It's just absolutely ridiculous how, like, I don't know, man, like, any of you out there who are actually conservatives, when you watch this shit, are you able to suss out the manipulation like this? Like, it's so blatantly fucking obvious. If you just take 2 seconds to actually listen to what the guy's saying, how much they're fucking manipulating you. I mean, I don't know, man. Moving on.
Sending 30 men in with guns to get pieces of paper because the National Archives was complaining that getting stuff back from Mar-a-Lago was taking too long. It's like...
Yes. Yes, that's absolutely what happened. It took them too long. They been trying to get this for months, right? Donald Trump wasn't complying. So when you don't comply with the police, what do? They take matters into their own hands. Please remember this information, these items here, that if it was you or me, or anybody else besides Donald Trump, right, they would have just shown up immediately, smashed all the doors down, and taken everything. Especially looking at how important these documents are, right? I mean, looking at, how top secret, TS, SCI, right? The most top secret of top secret. That's what was there. It's kind of, it's ridiculous that they waited so long in the first place to go get these. Unfucking believable. Such bullshit.
Librarian launching an FBI raid. We're raiding a president over bookkeeping. Trump's team was already working with the feds and already...
It was not bookkeeping. It was top secret information. Right? Granted, I think this came out before the warrant was unsealed. But let's just remember that. There will now be people, there will now be Republicans, conservatives, who will now forever think that this is what it was all about. There are now conservatives who will watch this, who watched this a few days ago, and will never get the actual real truth of what was really found there, of what Donald Trump was really being accused of. And they will believe now, until the day they die, that it was because of a bookkeeping error, because this asshole went on TV and lied to them. Let's just remember that. This shit matters. It matters when people go on TV and spread lies, right? It fucking matters. Because it's going to shape public opinion, right? And it's going, it's going to shape public opinion, and it's going to, shape who these people vote for, and ultimately who gets held accountable. It's irresponsible. This is why it matters, to like these media watchdog groups, like things like, Media Matters and like Right Wing Watch and stuff like that. That's why those groups are important, because they actually keep track of shit like this. Right? Because without groups like that are like actually keeping track of like what these fucking people say, this shit flies under the radar. I don't know. We should put the fucking fairness doctrine back is what we should do.
He handed over boxes of documents this year. Just this summer, agents were in Mar-a-Lago. Trump's lawyers were showing them around. This is where this was. This is where this was. The Fed said, all right, keep it secure. The next thing you know, boom. They come back with safe crackers, telling Trump's lawyers not to watch and hauling off 10 boxes of docs.
10 boxes they should not have had. 10 boxes they should not have had in the first place. 10 boxes they should have turned over in the first place. Donald Trump's not allowed to have any of this. This shit, it's just as important, the lies that he's telling. The other things that are just as important are the things that he's omitting, excuse me. Right? It's not okay for an ex-president to have this stuff. Even if it was just mementos and menus and photos of him with his text messages with him with his grandkids and shit like that. He's not supposed to have those either. The law says he's not supposed to have them. The law says that they have to be handled under a certain way. Okay? He doesn't get to just fucking not obey the law because he's rich and an ex-president. That's bullshit. So ultimately, that's what makes these things so frustrating, is this motherfucker just sitting here making excuses when it's like, we caught the guy, okay? This is like, the kid with his, whole arm in the fucking cookie jar. And they're excuses. This fucking, ass-kissing, brown-nosing sycophant is sitting here making excuses for, someone who committed probably the most, the highest, federal crime there is. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. How much is left of this? There's only 2 minutes left. Let's keep watching.
Is reporting the documents included President Obama's private letter that he left for the incoming President Trump in the drawer of the Resolute desk in the Oval, a presidential tradition that goes back decades.
This was the letter given to me by President Obama. I won't show it to you, read it to you, but just a beautiful letter.
Is there a line you
Beautiful
can
letter.
share that struck you most?
There were numerous lines, so well written, so thoughtful.
Men with guns.
So he couldn't even there were numerous lines. Oh, it was so beautiful. Oh, well, what's your favorite part? Oh, the whole thing. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. That was such bullshit. I just even when he's trying to say something nice, he can't follow through. He made that shit up too. That's fucking hilarious. It's like, oh, he's trying to say something nice about Obama, and he just even made that up also. First off. Secondly, it's funny because now we know that, no, it wasn't just the letter that Obama left him. It's like, yeah, what about the fucking nuclear secrets, huh? How come you're not mentioning that? Jesus. Unbelievable, man.
Showed up for that. A personal letter between two presidents? The Wall Street Journal is also reporting one of the documents that was also seized was Trump's private correspondence with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un.
I was really being tough, and so was he. And we would go back and forth.
Yeah. I don't want to listen to fucking Donald Trump talk. Right. Let's fast forward that. But let's keep in mind, even if it was just those things, right? Okay, it's okay, I can give Jesse Waters here the benefit of the doubt. He probably, I think, at this point, did not know that all of these items were top secret. Although I think it already was revealed at this point that there were top secret information there, right? But even if that was the case, even if there was no top secret information, it's against the law. Let's remember that. It's against the law. He's not allowed to have these things. It doesn't fucking matter. Even if all of it was declassified, he's not allowed to have it. These things are not. The law says they have to be handled in a certain way. They have to be preserved in a certain way. This is what presidential libraries are for, right? Which I don't know. Are they even going to make a fucking Trump library? I mean, is it going to be is it going to be like Florida's famous fried chicken and Trump presidential library? That's probably what it's going to be, like Ted's Fish and Chips and Trump's library in the same building. But so that's the thing. It's like he's making excuses, even if it wasn't, a crime which is potentially fucking the death penalty for how fucking important it is. You still should not have those things, right? And this is when you know the difference between someone who has integrity and someone who's a fucking sycophant, brown-nosing hack. Is that, you'll never see, for example, the Young Turks, making excuses for a politician. You'll never see it. Ever. Right? Even if it was Bernie Sanders. And, like, you know, Bernie Sanders gets you know, he's like the fucking biggest, like, you know, wet dream of every, like, Democratic socialist who, you know, they all want Bernie Sanders in there, right? If he gets accused of shit like this, they would not make excuses for him. You know? You would never see that. Even if it was fucking AOC. If she got accused of this and it turned out she did it, they would not make excuses for her. They'd be like, nope, throw her in jail. Right? Even if a video of Hillary Clinton came out, like, at Jeffrey Epstein's island, doing highly illegal shit, nobody on the left would defend her in a nanosecond. No, we would turn our backs on her ass in, like, a fucking nanosecond. Okay? This sort of hero worship shit does not exist on the left. You know? We don't make excuses for our leaders. At all. Right? We don't. If like, the closest thing that has ever come to this is that people would give Obama the benefit of the doubt. Right? If it turned out Obama did this, no one on the left would be fucking defending his ass. Hell no. No, we wouldn't. It would be, you know, it would suck. It'd be bad. But nobody would be making excuses like this for him. No, you wouldn't see Rachel Maddow on, like, fucking MSNBC making up a bunch of bullshit about how Obama really didn't do it. Right? Because it's integrity. That's what it is. It's called integrity. It's called fucking, like, having decency. You know. This is why you can't shame Republicans. You know, you have to actually have integrity before you can feel shame. Right? These people lie so fucking easily, and they do it constantly. All the time. That it just rolls off their tongue. You know, just the lies just pile right out. Tomorrow, Jesse Waters will get up, and he'll say a bunch more lies. You know, let's turn this shit off. I'm done with fucking Jesse Waters. Fuck you, Jesse Waters. There's only so much of this shit that you can take before you want to, like, I don't know. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. I got a few tweets I want to show to you guys here. Let me just go over here, go to my images, and let's make that bigger. Couple of tweets I want to show you guys, right? This is Donald Trump, of course, from his ridiculous Twitter ripoff Truth Social. President Barack Hussein Obama kept 33 million pages of documents. How much of them classified? How many of them pertain to nuclear? Word is lots. Right? This is Donald Trump telling a straight-out, blatant 100% lie. Barack Obama did not keep 33 million pages of documents. At all. First off, that's like, you know, 7,000 cubic feet of paper. So where the fuck is he keeping all these? In a goddamn stadium? Like in Dodger Stadium or some shit? Is that where he's keeping all these things? Right? Secondly, is he referring to the documents that Barack Obama created his presidential library with? Because he did not take those. That's what's supposed to happen. That's what the law says is supposed to happen. Right? So it's just right here, just a straight up lie. This is just Donald Trump lying to you right off the fucking bat. There's zero truth to this whatsoever. Some more tweets. Here's a response to that from Jacqueline Almany. The National Archives and Records Administration assumed exclusive legal and physical custody of Obama presidential records when President Barack Obama left office in 2017 in accordance with the Presidential Records Act. NARA moved approximately 30 million pages of unclassified records to an NARA facility in the Chicago area where they are maintained exclusively by NARA. Additionally, NARA maintains the classified Obama presidential records in an NARA facility in the Washington, D.C. area as required by the PRA. This is the Presidential Records Act. Former President Obama has no control over where and how NARA stores the presidential records of his administration. Complete. So, there you go. That's the 33 million pages of documents. Donald Trump is lying to you. Here's one from Lauren Boebert, a very spicy take from the country's second stupidest House rep behind Marjorie Taylor Greene. A.G. Garland personally approved the raid on President Trump. This is nothing short of a coup. Apparently, Lauren Boebert doesn't know what a coup actually is, because you have to be in power, right? Like, before you can seize power from somebody. Donald Trump is not in power. So how the fuck is this seizing power from him? It's like the dumbest fucking... Oh my god. The stupidest fucking shit. It's like... This tweet is still up. I took a screenshot of it because I thought she might delete it because it's so fucking stupid. It's still up. She thinks this is smart. How did this person how did this person get elected? I don't understand it. I mean, well, besides the fact that she allegedly, did the nasty with Ted Cruz and blowjobbed her way into a fucking, Senate seat or whatever, a House rep seat. I mean, allegedly, that's the rumor. I just don't understand how people can see something this fucking stupid and, support it. It's ridiculous. This is Laverne Spicer. If they try to charge Trump with the Espionage Act, you're going to see states secede from the Union. Well, I say let them go. That's what I say. I say if Texas and Florida and Alabama want to leave the Union because we're actually holding the president accountable for crimes that he actually did, then this time I say we don't fight to keep him. This time I say, okay, bye-bye. Please remember all the military stays with us. Right? Please remember that. Please remember the money stays with us. Okay? Those are United States dollars. Those are not Texas dollars. Those are not Florida dollars. Those are not Alabama dollars. Please remember all the federal funding and your fucking your Tennessee Valley Authority, all of that shit, all that stuff dries up. All the federal dollars that go to maintain your roads and your streets and fucking your electricity and your clean water and all the other shit that that the blue states pay for, that the red states take, right? All that dries up. We will suddenly see the South turn into a third world country. They don't understand. If they want to leave, fine. All that shit stays with us. Maybe we'll build a giant wall around them so that we can keep them from stealing our jobs. So, yeah, secede. I don't give a fuck. It'll be fun, It'll be great not having to fucking, sustain these failed states. Right? So, more from Laverne Spicer. Hunter Biden is a walking violation of the Espionage Act. The law was written precisely for a crackhead like him. From Laverne Spicer. First off, what state secrets is Hunter Biden selling? Right. That's the first thing. What is he, what job does he have in the government? Is Hunter Biden in charge of something I'm not aware of? Is he the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Education? Is he on the the presidential cabinet somewhere? Is he one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? What is Hunter Biden in charge of? Nothing. That's why it's the most shallow whataboutism, deflecting, like, look over there, there's a squirrel kind of fucking excuses that you can come up with. Hunter Biden is a private citizen. He's not in charge of shit. He is not in the government at all. Who cares if he spends his days smoking crack and banging hookers, right? Do you give a shit? I don't give a shit. Those things I don't think should even be illegal. To be honest, you should be allowed to smoke crack if you want to. It's your body, smoke as much crack as you want. You should be allowed to, be a prostitute. I think that should not be illegal. I think it should be regulated. You should have to, follow certain guidelines so that you're not, spreading, STDs or whatever, right? But as far as I'm concerned, you want to be a prostitute, be a prostitute. If you want to go pay someone for sex, it should be completely 100% legal, as far as I'm concerned, to pay people for sex. It just, the way it's done, I think we can talk about. But the fact that it should be legal should be totally fine. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to spend your days just fucking being a hedonist, doing drugs and fucking getting your rocks off, who gives a shit? Right? So it's just so they have nothing. They have absolutely fucking nothing, right? They're making excuses because they don't have shit. These are some comments I got. So I occasionally like to brave the swamplands of conservative Reddit. And there's a couple of comments I saw here which I think kind of make my point. This is from a guy named Mr. Opportunity. Do you realize he was already working with them in regards to Trump and the FBI? He was already working with them in regards to these documents, and agents just had been to a Mar-a-Lago, a month or so ago, and asked him to put a different lock on the cabinet or whatever it was that was holding the documents, which he did do. I wonder if you feel the same about Obama keeping over 30,000 classified documents. Where's the raid on his house? Have they even contacted him about turning in the documents? This whole thing is nothing but trying to worsen the public perception of Trump. Biden admin is using the FBI as their Gestapo edit, and now Trump says the documents that were seized were already declassified. The reason I bring this comment up is because it demonstrates that this messaging actually works, right? All the lies that we see, people going up and spreading, right? All of the excuses that Trump and his fucking brown-nosing toadies, are spreading around actually resonates with the base. Here's a normal, ordinary dude who's probably not that, crazy. He's just a Trump supporter, believing every single one of the lies. Oh, he was working with them. Oh, they asked him to put a lock on the cabinet. First off, he's wrong here. A different lock. It wasn't a different lock. There was no lock on the door to where these things were stored. First bit of misinformation, which has made it through to a Trump supporter. Which he did do. How come he just didn't give them back then? That's the other thing. It's like, why does he have the shit in the first place? We're not answering that question. And then, of course, Obama keeping over 30,000 classified documents. You notice how he says 30,000, Trump said 33 million. So maybe that didn't filter down all the way. Maybe this guy's not getting the messaging right. Where's the raid on his house? It's like, just bought that lie, hook, line, and sinker. And it shows that, and then the third one, the Biden admin is using the FBI as their Gestapo. It shows how all they have to do is say it. All they have to do is get up. Like, it doesn't have to be true. That's the thing about propaganda. Propaganda does not have to be true. It doesn't have to have any truth to it at all whatsoever. It just has to be something that makes someone feel good. This Mr. Opportunity here feels good when there's an excuse that he can grab onto, no matter how ridiculous or unfounded or, you know, or just like completely like with no basis in fucking reality that it actually has, right? Last one. Now Trump is saying the documents seized were already declassified. Just a straight up lie. No, they were not already declassified. This guy here, Mr. Opportunity, is ready to believe anything that they fucking tell him. And this is why I wanted to bring this up. This is a perfect example of how misinformation works. You know, and it just seems like Trump supporters are just so vulnerable to this after like decades of a right-wing alternative conservative media sphere just feeding them lies. They'll fucking believe anything you tell them. It's no wonder the country is so fucked up when you have people like this who are going out and voting. Last comment, which I thought, this comment too, I thought was worth keeping. From Mr. Metafix, this is exactly right. The president, by definition, in italics, cannot be guilty of mishandling classified documents, as he is the source of all classification power. If the president says they're declassified, that's all that is necessary for the president. The federal regulations and procedures for disclassification apply to lower-ranked officials, not the president. That is 100% grade A prime rib bullshit. That's not how it works. President cannot just be like, this is declassified, and decree it. It has to go through a process. Right? There has to be written orders and verifications and documents and shit in order for something to be declassified. The president cannot declassify things after he takes them and makes them public. He can't be like, oh, that's declassified, after he already fucking says it. That's bullshit. And there are, as we said before, certain subjects that the president is not able to declassify anyway. Things having to do with intelligence gathering, the intelligence apparatus, and nuclear weapons, which just so happens to be the types of documents that Donald Trump stole. But there you go. Mr. Metafix here will now believe until the end of time that Donald Trump was innocent because some asshole told him on Fox News. Ridiculous. Let's turn off that. Let's turn this off. This is getting old. Let's go back to what we were talking about before. What time are we at? 12:22? Let's read some comments here. Let's see what we got. And then we'll continue on. Because there's one more little bit that I want to talk about before we leave. Okay, let's see. Where did we... let's read some comments here. Frater Perpetus Kogi. MAGA Tears. Great to see you. I have not seen you in the chat before. Welcome to the channel, man. Adversary Fandin. Troth Sentai. What? Truth Central. Truth Central. Troth Sentinel. Yeah, totally. Dynacat. Trump is 76 going on 10. Yeah, he's he has the definitely the mentality of a 10-year-old, that's for sure. He's a good example, Donald Trump, of what happens when, you know, you're born with millions and millions of dollars. Because remember, like, you know, by the time Donald Trump was like a zygote, he already had more money than all of us watching this combined will ever have in our lives. I mean, you know, he was like super rich always. So just, you know, that's kind of what happens. Like if you ever notice, you know, rich kids are always the worst kids, right? Especially when they know they're rich and they know that they start to understand, like children, like right around the age of like 10 or 11, start to understand that money equals power, you know, right around that age. And then, you know, my dad is an important person. He has lots of money. That means we get whatever we want. They start to fucking figure that shit out. And that's when they turn into real bastards, you know. By the time you're a teenager, you understand that and you're using it, and it's like, I don't know. Have you ever met a rich kid who wasn't a bastard? You know? Like, I don't think I ever have, to be honest. And I can say this with some definition because I kind of grew up in a somewhat rich area, like right around, in Los Angeles. Like in a kind of a, I mean, me, myself personally, I'm not rich. I was never rich. We're firmly middle class, my family, you know. But yeah, I've known one or two super rich kids, trust fund babies in my time. And let's just say they don't turn out to be the nicest of people when they're growing up. It's something about getting every single thing that you've ever wanted ever does something to your psyche. You sort of notice this with child actors. You ever notice how child actors always tend to be fuck ups when they grow up? Like pretty much always. Like, can you name a child actor that wasn't a drug addict or didn't turn into a fucking crazy person? like, no, it's sort of just universally what happens when you're and it really does have to do with having a shitload of money and never having to work for anything, or knowing that no matter what you do, no matter how bad you don't give a fuck, you're always gonna come out on top. You know what I mean? Sort of like when parents don't spoil their kids. Yeah, I mean, when parents don't discipline their kids is what I meant to say. Same kind of thing. Like when you don't hold your kids accountable for shitty behavior, however you do that, whether it's through timeouts or grounding them or whatever, right? Sort of like that. The kid grows up spoiled as hell. Well, what spoils a child more than knowing that they can just buy their way and get anything they want, and most of the time get, even when that comes to things like people and, what spoils a kid more than knowing that they've got money and power beyond those of normal men, Like one time when I was 19, I had my girlfriend, and she had a friend who was 16. My girlfriend was 18, and she had a friend who was 16. And her friend, I think her friend was into her and wanted to get with her, This is years and years ago. And her friend had a car and a credit card and all this stuff, and was competing with me as to who had more money. And I was only 8, I was 19 years old, so I just worked at a fucking restaurant and shit like that. And you know what I mean? And it was this, and it was oh, this fucking rich kid who's has a credit card that her parents gave her and a car that they bought her. And it was just I just remember this, I'm wow, how fucking stuck up can you get? I don't know. I've encountered many people like that in my life, and it's even if I ever I always said even if I won the lottery or some shit, miracle happens and I win $1 billion, I would still make my children go to public school. I'd still make them shop at Target. I'd still make them get jobs when they turned into teenagers. I'd be you ain't getting no money, fucking, I had to get a job as a teenager. You have to too. You know what I mean? I would still make them try to be normal people, who would I mean, of course, obviously, I wouldn't keep things from them. I'd try to get them the best, that I could, but at the same time, I wouldn't be, doting to their every fucking desire. You know what I mean? Because I really think that, screws somebody up. I mean, just look how Michael Jackson fucking came out. Anyway. Moving on. Danicat, James and Ethel Rosenberg. All right, we already talked about that. Yeah, I need to read my history. Danicat, we're supposed to believe Donald is rich. To this day, nobody really knows. Well, that's the big secret, right? He won't release his taxes. He straight up lied about that. Remember, folks? He was going to, release his taxes, and he never did. And now I just read, actually, that what was it? there was like a court decision that basically says that he has to release them to Congress now. So now Congress is going to get a hold of him. So I guess we'll find out, how much money Donald Trump actually has. But that's the rumor, is that he's in debt, like, billions and billions of dollars. And it makes perfect sense, because if you think about it, right, what reason would you have for taking home documents like this? What's the reason, right? Why would somebody who's supposedly a billionaire, supposed to have billions and billions and lots of money, what would he be doing with nuclear secrets, right? With top secret documents, like the highest of classified. Why would he have these things, right? What's the reason why he would have it? It doesn't make any sense. The only reason that makes sense is that he was selling these, right? That's the only reason it makes sense. Why even keep this? If you're the president, I'm pretty sure somebody explained to him what top secret was, right? I'm pretty sure somebody told him, hey, you're not allowed to have these things, or why did you take these, right? So why did he fucking take them? The only thing that makes sense is so that he could fucking, like, sell them to the highest bidder, right? So, and then if you start sort of reading up on it and seeing that Donald Trump is in a lot of, like, financial trouble, not making as much as he claims and all that stuff. And he also has, like, all of these legal problems when it comes to his businesses, when it comes to, like, in New York, for example, him, like, the AG of New York is like, basically suing the shit out of him. He just went up and did a deposition and, like, took the fifth, like, 200 times or whatever. So he's going to lose that. It's a civil case. He's going to lose that civil case, and he's going to have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars and all that. Like, so he's in trouble, like, financially. If what I'm reading is to be believed, right? So then it starts making sense. Then it's like, oh, well, maybe the fucking Russians are interested in some of these documents. Maybe the Saudis are interested in some of these nuclear, these documents pertaining to nuclear weapons. Maybe the Chinese are interested in seeing what some of these state secrets are. I find that to be completely plausible. I mean, Donald Trump is motivated by one thing and one thing only, and that's money. Well, okay, two things. Money and his ego. He's motivated by those two things. So, yeah, does not surprise me one fucking bit. If, of course we're speculating here. We don't really know. But, would not be surprised if he, there was apparently Jared Kushner got a $2 billion investment from the Saudi royal family very recently for, like, no reason whatsoever. Like, what did he get all that money for? Right? And then you're like, oh, well, maybe somebody just left the door to the basement unlocked for a few hours. Now it starts making sense. I don't know. I guess hopefully we'll find out. Hopefully they'll be able to get some evidence whether or not that actually happened. We'll see. Let's see. Lewis the Hedgehog. If Trump is found guilty after this and people still support him, they are truly hopeless. Yes. They're already truly hopeless. There's always going to be that core group of Donald supporters who doesn't matter what he does. He could fucking rape, he could rape fucking Mother Teresa on live TV and people would still support him. So let's remember that, There's going to be people that don't support him but who will vote for him anyway because they think Joe Biden is like the Antichrist. Let's remember that too. Right? There'll be people who will vote for him because they think that, the Democrat is like fucking taken over by demons or something. And there'll be people who vote for him because, they're just Republicans and they don't give a shit. And, it's all just politics to them. So it's like, that's always going to happen. But I don't think, like we're seeing in that video where they're like, oh, they just handed Donald Trump the presidency. I don't think so. I don't think your average, because what it is that his base, like we said, his base is not big enough. All of his base came out and voted for him in 2020, and he lost, right? Those same people come out again in 2024, he's still going to lose. So he will not win unless he gets independence. Well, none of the like Democrats are going to vote for his ass. None of the liberals or progressives are going to vote for his ass. Hell no, right? Like, none of them. Like, and that was the thing in 2016. There were actual Democrats, people like Bernie supporters and shit, who switched to Trump. That didn't happen in 2020. He lost. He didn't have those Bernie bro type people supporting him in 2020, right? So you can kiss that shit goodbye. So the only way he could possibly win is if he gets independence. Well, independents are looking at this going, dude, the guy's a fucking crook. Look what he's being accused of like taking top secret information. He was like impeached twice for good fucking reason. He's like being indicted in New York. He's got the Georgia, like the thing in Georgia where he tried to fucking like pressure the election officials in order to fucking like, like find votes for him, right? In order to like steal the election. He's got the January 6th thing, investigations showing that he's, showing his plan to fucking steal the election, shit like that. Like the average, I think the independent voters I think it's too much. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of effect that they did to Hillary. If you remember in the run up to 2016 and before that, the Republicans like just, like they would do shit like have 8-hour long fucking Benghazi hearings over and over and over. Stuff like that. And it was like, these bullshit hearings about Benghazi and all these other things and the idea was to sour Hillary Clinton in the public mind. That's what it was really all about. That's what all of those fucking hearings that wasted millions of dollars and didn't come to like, and the hearings about her emails and all this other shit, that none of that came to fruition because there was no proof of any actual wrongdoing. That was never the point. The point was never to actually throw Hillary Clinton in jail. The point was to equate her with being a criminal so that when 2016 came around, so when she ran for president, which they all knew she was going to, the public had a sour taste in their mouth. That's what's happening. That's what's happened with Trump already. He's got a sour taste in his mouth. That's why all the Republicans are moving to DeSantis now. Because he's like Trump but without the baggage. Because they know Trump can't win. So I don't know. I don't think he has a chance. I think if he runs again, I think he loses. And I will be happy to contribute to a third Trump loss. Anyway. Let's see. Let's go down here. Some cool comments here, Lewis. A library of coloring books, basically. Yeah, right. Eventually, they will be begging to rejoin the Union. I guess that's about the South seceding. Yeah, it's like, well, if they rejoin the Union, maybe we could put some like restrictions on them this time. It's like, oh, you want to rejoin the Union? Maybe you need to fucking do something about healthcare. Maybe you need to like do some shit about like voting rights and like, access to critical health services like abortion and transition services for trans people and so on. I think that might be a good thing. Have them leave the Union and then petition to come back. Because then maybe we can actually build a country worth being proud of, huh? Let's see, Dynacat. If the process is a protocol or whatever, it's not a law. I think the question will go all the way to the Supreme Court, and Trump may win there. Well, I think he would win in the Supreme Court purely because we have a conservative majority. but it is a law. That's the thing. It's not classified just because he says it's classified. He can't, and you can't retroactively classify something. That's the first thing. Even the president can't do that. He can't just be like, oh yeah, that's classified. Or that's like, unclassified or whatever. No. It's not unclassified unless it has to go through the process. There has to be a written, because that's how it works. Now, now he is allowed to declassify anything he wants up to a certain, that doesn't have to do with like nuclear weapons or intelligence gathering. He is allowed to do that, but he can't just like say it in a tweet, for example. He can't just be like, get up on Truth Social and be like, oh yeah, that's declassified. No. It's, where's the paperwork? You know what I mean? Like, like there's paperwork that has to be followed. Like that's what the law is. Like, there's an executive order that gives the president the power to classify and declassify things, and that's what it entails. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. You're probably right. You're probably right that the Supreme Court would side with them, but that's because the Supreme Court is compromised by conservatives. I think what would happen is that he would lose every court, like, battle all the way up to the Supreme Court and then win. And that's just because, I have no confidence in the Supreme Court actually making, like, decisions that are right. You know what I mean? That aren't compromised by their ideology anymore. That's the world we live in, man. Voting matters. Lucy Hedgehog, Michael Jackson turned out like he did because his father was a total monster. Yeah. But he also, his father was an abusive piece of shit. This is true. But, he also, had everything that he ever wanted. I mean, you saw Neverland, right? I mean, he had like a fucking amusement park in his house. Like, what happens when you just have all the money ever from, like, the time that you're like a kid? Like, I mean, here's the thing. Okay, if I, for example, wanted to buy a PlayStation 5, right? Like, I am not broke. I actually have a little bit of money saved up. I have enough money that I could live comfortably for about 2 years without working, right? If I were to like go on unemployment, I could live for 2 years without working. So I'm not broke, but at the same time, a $500 purchase makes me look at it twice. I don't just go drop $500 for no reason. So if I wanted a PlayStation 5, for example, which I still haven't bought one, I wouldn't just on the spur of a moment go out to GameStop and just buy one and get 16 games with it. No, it takes a little bit of planning there. Maybe I'd have to put aside a little bit of money from one paycheck and then a little bit from the next paycheck, and then depending on what bills I had that month and how much I want to save. And, the reason why I have savings is because I save it. Well, it's like, well, do I want to actually take a little bit out of that this time? I have to budget things, and then, oh, wait a minute, do I have big purchases coming? Do I have my taxes I got to pay pretty soon? I got to save for that, and blah, 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 right? Stuff like that. That is still a somewhat of a big purchase that I have to think about. It's not like just going and getting dinner or buying a candy bar or something where you just spend $2 or $3 and, or if you just go like to Starbucks and buy some shit and you don't think about it. It's not like that, right? But imagine your entire life, every time you wanted something like that, you didn't have to make those decisions. You didn't have to think about, how am I going to be able to afford this? Should I get it? Can I live without it for another month until I have the money saved? Imagine never having to save for anything, never having to budget anything, never having to worry about where it is or like what you were going to do, or even having to those are just concerns that they just never had. If they want something, they get it. I remember when I was in high school, my civics teacher told me a story about how he knew a pilot that worked for Elizabeth Taylor. and it was Elizabeth Taylor's like personal jet pilot. And one time, Elizabeth Taylor and Burt Reynolds show up, and he flew them from Los Angeles to New York because they wanted to get a bowl of chili. Because Elizabeth Taylor said to Burt Reynolds, there's this restaurant in New York that has really good chili. Let's go there for lunch. And so on a spur of a whim, they decide to spend, and keep in mind a private jet ride across the country is extremely expensive. You're paying something like, thousands upon thousands of dollars just in fuel, let alone your staff, like that, your pilot that you have, the fucking porters and shit like that, let alone the cost of the upkeep of the fucking plane and all the other expenses that come in with flying it that I don't even fucking know that you have to do, and then you have like a hotel room that you gotta get and all this other crap. Imagine just going to New York on a whim to get a bowl of chili. Like, I don't think we comprehend as normal, ordinary people. I don't think we understand the lifestyles of the rich and the famous like this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we understand exactly how much different our life is than somebody like Donald Trump. I don't think we'll ever understand. I think this is another reason why you see people who start out as normal people and become rich get a little freaked out over it. People like, Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle kind of went a little nuts and ran away for a little bit. Once the fame and the money really hit, he like took off to Africa for a little while. I don't know if you guys remember that. He canceled his show, took off to Africa, and just sort of like went on a spiritual retreat. Or why somebody like, say, who's the guy that played Captain America? What the fuck was his name? The actor, Chris something or other. The guy that played him in the fucking movies. Chris Evans, that's his name, right? The reason why Chris Evans decided to leave Marvel, although Captain America Steve Rogers is totally coming back. I mean, let's be real, but still, the reason why he decided, he took a 6-picture deal, made $100 million, and now is like, okay, that's it, I'm done playing this character, even though it'll make me millions and millions of more dollars if I sign on for another 6-picture deal. Decided not to take it because the money and the fame is hitting him weird, and he's adjusting his life to it. And I'm not just making that up. He actually said that in an interview, that, it changes your lifestyle. And it's like, sometimes people can't handle that shit. Sometimes people don't like the money and the fame and the expose and like fucking like, paparazzi and shit going through their garbage and fishing out half-eaten sandwiches and stuff. Like, sometimes they don't like those things, right? So I can totally understand that. Like, but I don't think we're capable of understanding it unless it actually happens to us. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I would deny myself that. If I had the ability to fly to the other side of the country to get a bowl of chili, I mean, I'd probably think it was fucking awesome. But imagine having that since the day you were born, basically. Like, what does that do to somebody psychologically? I don't know. I think it fucks them up. But anyway, so there's a couple other things I want to read here before we go on. Another video that I want to talk about here before we move on here. This is Dan Bongino losing his mind on Fox News. Quite. Let's just go over here. Let's make this big. This is only 3 minutes long, so hopefully it won't be too crazy. Let's turn on our laptop window. And actually, there's one thing I want to do here real quick. Sorry, folks. Move this over here. Blah, blah, blah. I really should just, set all of this shit up ahead of time. I will. I promise, folks. That's my New Year's resolution, is to quit being so lazy and to set things up. So let's listen to Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is a conservative pundit who has his own radio show. He's a wannabe Sean Hannity type. You know, he's sort of like discount Sean Hannity, wannabe Dave Rubin type guy. Let's see what he has to say.
The host of Unfiltered on Saturday nights. Dan, you're quick.
Wait. Start it over.
Let's
Okay.
go to Dan Bongino, the host of Unfiltered on Saturday nights. Dan, your quick emotional reaction. I think everyone's a little emotional here about this raid.
Yeah, I mean, you think? This is some third world bullshit right here. Let me say it again. Third world bullshit. I mean, every word of that. I don't care that it's cable news.
Edgy Republican guy. Pissed off. Saying profanity on TV. He must be serious, huh? I want to point out, when he says third world bullshit, right, I want to point out that in the third world, you know, when you say third world, right, the leaders of countries like, say, Colombia or Nicaragua or Panama, stuff like that. When you say third world, Banana Republic, right, one of those characteristics of such countries is that corrupt politicians get away with being corrupt, right? That's the pattern you see in banana republics, in third world banana republics, as Dan Bongino here is apt to say. We are kind of seeing the opposite of that, right? This is the opposite of what would happen in a third world banana republic, right? If it was a third world banana republic, nothing would happen. The president, the leader of the country, would blatantly break the law, get away with it, and nothing would not be, you know, he would not be held accountable in any way whatsoever. It is kind of the opposite of a third world republic, like Banana Republic, to hold people accountable for things that they do, especially when it comes to the country's leader. So, Mr. Angry Face here is completely wrong in that respect. Just want to point that out right at the beginning.
I was a federal agent. I raised my right hand, and I swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, and I love this country. This is a freaking disgrace. A disgrace. We don't live in Cuba.
So, what does that have to do with, you know, here's the thing, that it's the presumption of innocence is just like astounding. That's what I get, number one, right? Now, I don't know if I think this happened right afterwards, so they didn't have the receipts yet. But, you know, here's the thing about this, right? They're automatically just assuming this is a political witch hunt. Like, you can already see, like, that's where they were framing this. I think this happened, I think this broadcasted on Tuesday. Like, the next day after it became public that the raid went down, you know? And they were already framing that message that, oh, this is a political ploy. Oh, the Biden administration is doing this to persecute Trump, excuse me. Keep him from running again, blah, 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 right? It's all political. Funny how all of this has aged incredibly badly, and it's only been a couple of days. But will this guy, Dan Bongino, will he get up on his radio show and say, hey, I was wrong? Will he do that? Will he get on his show and say, hey, turns out the FBI actually did have a good reason to undergo this raid. Hey, it turns out that this was not politically motivated. No, of course he fucking won't. He will never, and that's part of the conservative playbook, is to never admit you were wrong ever. even when you go up on TV and you say things that are completely the opposite of the truth, you'll never see them ever, ever, ever admitting that what they said was wrong. You know? I guess that's a sign of weakness or something. I don't know. Moving on.
We don't live under Kim Jong-un. We live in a constitutional republic, a representative democracy. You have a bunch of FBI agents raiding the home of a former president because they don't like his politics? Are you kidding me?
See, here's the thing, right? So the guest, the host on Fox News would never straight out say that. Although I think, you'd probably see it from like Judge, Janine or whatever. What's her name? Janine Pirro. You'd probably see her saying shit like that. But like an actual anchor person on Fox News would never just say what Don Bongino or whatever the fuck his name is, Bongino would say. You never would see them saying, oh, they raided him because they don't like his policies, right? But the guest can say these things. And that's always been the way that Fox News basically like makes excuses for their propaganda. Where our host never said this. The guest is the one that said this thing that was blatantly untrue. And in this case it's Dan Bongino here. Saying what everybody on the network is thinking. But I just want to point that out. That's a little trick they use, That's another way that they hide their propaganda and they give themselves plausible deniability. We're not biased. Just the guest that we had on is incredibly fucking totally super biased. It's bullshit.
You've spent this whole show, Jesse, and I've spent my entire time either on Fox or on my podcast exposing the left for claiming Russia interfered in an election as Hillary Clinton paid off a bunch of foreign agents, her team literally to fabricate a story that occupied the nation for 4 years. What's she doing right now?
Wait.
Getting a manicure in freaking Chappaqua.
So that, what he just said right there, is a straight up lie. Hillary Clinton did not pay foreign agents to come up with a fabricated story. Right? There were indictments. People went to jail over the Russia collusion investigation. Paul Manafort, right? What's his name? Klaus Kalinske. People were indicted and spent time in prison. Crimes were committed. What's his name? Konstantin Kalinske or something? Like the Russian, basically spy that, Paul Manafort was feeding information to. Right? No, that wasn't, that's just a blatant lie right there. Does Dan Bongino know that's a lie, or is he just feeding into the conspiracy theory? Well, I guess we'll never know. That's another thing. It's like, straight up fucking lie right there. And Hillary Clinton did not pay people to invent that. Right? Hillary Clinton had nothing to do, with that investigation. It's like, what they did is opposition research. And these were some of the things that the opposition research came to. But was she in charge of the Justice Department? No. She was not in office when the investigation went through. Isn't that true? So what did she do that was illegal? That's the thing. It's like, yelling at her, she's getting her nails done. Well, what crime did she commit? Do you have evidence that she committed a crime? No, you don't. It's fake outrage. Fake outrage, whataboutism, it's just such a blatant fucking manipulation of people's emotions. He's angry because he wants everybody at home to be angry. Do you really think this guy Dan Bongino is really this angry about all this? It's such bullshit, folks. Moving on.
She's not doing squat. Nothing. Hunter Biden is having sex on tape while doing crack. And what is he doing? He's living in a Malibu mansion. And yet the president, the former president...
Once again, Hunter Biden is just a normal person. He's a private citizen. He does not work for the government, right? So having a video of yourself smoking crack is not illegal. It's not illegal. The cops can't show up and be like, hey, here's a video of you smoking crack. You're under arrest. If they did that, it would get laughed out of court. You have to, like, be in possession of some drugs, right? They have to find drugs on you, and then you'll just get possession. And most of the time, that's not even fucking really anything either. You know, that's like not that big of a deal to just have if it's just like for personal use. I mean, if you have enough to like where they can try to claim that you're selling it, you know, like if you are stupid enough to have like a pound of fucking cocaine or whatever, that's different, right? But that's not really that illegal. It's like that's why, like, you know, people have videos of themselves smoking weed on the internet and stuff, and cops aren't showing up at their houses. It's like, you know, because just having a video of you doing that, you know, they have to catch you. Like, I mean, if they show up and he's currently under the influence, maybe that's one thing, you know. So that's dumb. Having a video of you having sex with a prostitute, I mean, good luck prosecuting somebody on that. You know, is it part of a sting operation? How do you know she's a prostitute, number one? You have to prove... I mean, it's not... You can't just, like, break down somebody's door because of some shit that you see on, like, fucking, you know, a video. Like, no. You know, what if he did it? What if that was in, like, Las Vegas or, like, Nevada or someplace where it was legal? Right? I mean, there is such thing as legal prostitution in this country. And once again, he's not in charge of anything. It's like, I don't understand. Why do conservatives and Republicans and shit think that, like, the Hunter Biden thing is such a gotcha? Like, why do they think it's such a, like, you know, why do they think anybody cares about that? Who gives a fuck, right? No one would give a fuck about Trump's kids if they weren't in the goddamn government. You know, if they weren't in charge of things, if he didn't put his dumbass fucking, like, son-in-law in charge of the Middle East peace process, right? And in charge of fucking the COVID-19 response, nobody would give a fuck about Jared Kushner. You know, like, it's unbelievable. It's such hypocritical, deflective bullshit. This is what, if you're, you know, because I know there are conservatives that watch my videos because I get messages from them all the time, usually telling me to fuck off, right? So I know you people watch this shit. I mean, are you really gonna let this guy manipulate you like this? Are you really not capable of understanding how he's manipulating your emotions like this? Right? How he's deflecting blame away and using your fear and hatred to get shit out of you. Are you really not capable? Oh, I can just do this? I didn't know I could use the wheel. Oh, wow. This whole time I've been using this thing up here. Like, fuck that. I'm just going to, like, scroll in with the wheel. That's great. Anyway, moving on.
Who, whether you agree with him or not on his claims about the election, whether you agree or not, we still live in a country where you are allowed to challenge an election. There's even a process, the ECA, the Electoral Count Act. You may not like it, but it's a process. How do I know it's a process? Because some people are trying to reform it. You may not like it, but now you send the FBI. Let me tell you something.
Did Donald Trump go through that process? Okay, he wanted to challenge the election. Did he actually challenge it the right way? Or did he send a mob full of crazy psychopaths to go murder his own vice president? What the fuck actually happened there, Dan Bongino? Right? Why are you saying, oh, you don't like that he challenged the election? No, 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 no. Sending Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and fucking deranged bison wearing like MAGA chud shamans and shit to go break into the Capitol and smear feces all over the place while they look to go like murder the vice president and any other fucking like politician they can get their hands on. That is not challenging the election. You know, it's important that we don't let them frame shit like this in that way. Don't let them belittle, you know, when it's important. Like, when you encounter this stuff online, push back. Because that's what they'll do. You know, if you ever brave the, you know, brave the conservative parts of social media and encounter these things, don't let these people, like, whitewash what actually happened. Right? Because they'll fucking retcon all the crimes away, like this guy's doing right now. He's trying to fucking alter history. He's trying to belittle the actual events that we all saw happen so that people won't be like, people will muddy their memories and they'll be like, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad. Oh, he was just challenging the election. It's motherfucking liars, dude. It's fucking liars. Moving on.
I have paid due deference to the FBI for a long time, and a lot of listeners didn't like it because I work with some very good people over there who have since retired. The management of the FBI has now shredded any single sliver of credibility this agency had left. Nobody will take them seriously from this point on. It is over. You've heard the examples. Stone, Manafort, Cohen, over and over. Are they good guys? Are they bad guys? I don't know.
All three of those guys were convicted, by the way, in the Russia probe. And other things. You know, Manafort convicted in the Russia probe that he just said was a hoax. Roger Stone, convicted, got a pardon. You know, Michael Cohen didn't get a pardon because he actually, tried, he actually thought the justice system would help him if he told the truth and shit. Anyway, enough of this fucking asshole. You get the idea. I just want to point out one last thing. He just said the FBI lost all credibility. Looks like that comment didn't age very well, did it, Dan Bongino? Looks like, none of what this bullshit that he just said aged well at all, because now we know exactly what they were there for. We know that it wasn't politically motivated. We know the things that they did recover were top secret, and Donald Trump is in a shitload of trouble. Is Dan Bongino going to take any of this back? Is he going to get on his radio show and say, hey, I was wrong, the FBI does have integrity, Donald Trump actually is, it was justified, the raid? Is he going to say any of this stuff? No, he won't. He won't say it at all because he doesn't have any integrity. He's a self-serving bastard just like the rest of them that only gives a shit about his own money and power. He doesn't fucking care at all about what's actually true, what's actually right, if the law was obeyed or if the law was broken, because he makes money when the fascists take over. Dan Bongino is a piece of shit. Let's turn his fucking ass off. I know there's another minute left, but I can't stand watching anymore. And plus, there's one last thing that I want to talk about before we end this. One last thing. Let's just move this over here, and let's turn on my main window. This is from the Daily Dot. I'll put this down in the chat for you guys here too. One last thing before we end this. Just to kind of show you all of the lies that we've been hearing, all of the pushback and lies we've been hearing since this happened on Monday, the effect that it's having on people. We have guns too. Trump supporters flood TikTok with threats of civil war. Just want to show you how far it's gone. How far it's gone, right? How far they've pushed the Overton window so far to the right that the Trump supporters are now ready for violence, right? You remember when Donald Trump was running and there were threats of violence if he lost in 2016, and then he wins. Then in 2020, there were threats of violence if he lost then. Same kind of thing. People went on social media, threatened violence if he lost the election. What happened? There was violence. January 6th, there was violence. Right? What do you think is going to happen this time? Do you think if they actually do indict Donald Trump, which I think they're going to, if I was a betting man, I would give it a 60-40 chance that he gets indicted. Right? What do you think is going to happen? We have guns too. Trump supporters flood TikTok with threats of civil war. Right? Here's one video here. Let's see what this TikToker has to say. This is from Shell Seas in Texas. The right is prepping for civil war. I report them all to the FBI, but I literally don't have time to sit and report the hundreds of videos like this I'm seeing on my alt TikTok. So here's a thread.
Well, hey, don't mind me.
Oh, fuck you. Come on, load.
Just getting ready for my IRS audit. I know this is about to come. Listen, I'm just like you. I've seen what happened to Trump. Yeah, it's go time. Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. The Democrat Nazis have gone too far.
Democrat Nazis. Okay.
Just look at what they've said in the Senate in the past. Look at all the ammunition the IRS is buying up.
What have they said in the Senate? See, they always say shit like that, and then they never follow up. That's, look at what they said in the Senate in the past. Well, what the fuck did they say? What did they do? I mean, in the past, couple of weeks, they passed that bill for the, for veterans and burn pits and shit, whatever that was called, the PACT bill. They passed that, no thanks to the fucking Republicans, right? So, what the fuck are you talking about? See, you know why? Because this guy doesn't know. Right? He just said that because he's talking off the top of his fucking head. If you were to ask this dude to actually provide evidence or back his shit up or give some links or whatever, he wouldn't be able to fucking do it. Because facts have no bearing on what this person believes. It's all about shit that makes him feel good. It's all about his feelings. He feels like he's being persecuted because Donald Trump is actually being held accountable for the first time in his fucking life.
Look at the new classification they come out with the MBEs. I fit that description quite nicely.
NBE.
Yeah. If you followed me on my other account, follow me on this one as well. Don't let them shut me up. Every time I come across one of you who have lost your account due to the Democrat Nazis on the Democrat Nazi app, I follow you.
Dude, the Democrat Nazis are making you lose your TikTok accounts. Okay, that's. I guess they just have in the Biden White House they have the Department of TikTok, where like a guy goes through, watches all the TikTok accounts and kicks people off for being too conservative. Right? See, this is what we're talking about. This guy probably has more than one gun. Right? This is a fucking mass shooter in the making right here. Here's another dude. Right. Let's see. Unsurprisingly, they're still using TikTok as a recruiting tool. Let's see what this guy has to say.
I'm going to just put this out there. I had a few people comment on my post.
Come on,
He's
TikTok.
also the co-leader of a militia that we started, which, by the way, already has members. And people lining up. Now, religion aside, we don't believe in being segregated, so we don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Norse pagan, Christian, Buddhist, trans, gay, lesbian. We don't fucking care. Because
Yeah. I am calling bullshit on this. His name is United America's People Militia. I think he very much does care about those things, but moving on.
we accept anybody who is willing to fight for the Constitution and for the American people. Now, to those who are wolves, those who are willing to stand up and fight, please follow. Please stand with us. We welcome you. And for those who are sheep, who don't want to stand, who want to trust in their government that has already failed them multiple times, and who want to bend the knee, stay the fuck off my page. I don't need sheep on my page. I need wolves that will stand with me so that we might fight this corrupt government, these corrupt cops, every fucking corrupt person in this country, and bring our country back to the glory it once was. The United States...
Just want to see, you know... I don't understand how people can say shit like this and then get mad when they get kicked. Like... I mean, if I was running TikTok, I'd ban this guy to, you know, he's basically inciting violence, this person right here. And this shit is all, I mean, you're seeing it all over the place. Did I put this down for you guys? Daily Dot? Yes. Read this article. It's actually worth reading, you know. But this is like just a small sample of the reaction here. When you see, you know, here we go. Here's another one. I'm not going to bother with this. But let's turn this off for now, right? You get the idea. People on the MAGA chuds on TikTok are losing their minds, right? And it should come to no surprise then that we saw just the other day a Trump supporter attacking an FBI building in Cincinnati. Last thing I want to talk about before we end for today. Here is an article on it, although I'm sure you guys have all heard about this because it's just been all over the news, you know, since it happened. What's the story with this? Well, a guy named Ricky Schiffer drove to the Cincinnati FBI building with an AR-15 and got caught at the visitor screening, and an alarm went off. So I'm supposing, it doesn't actually say, but kind of looks like he got, you know, he went through a metal detector or something. Alarm went off, and he fired a nail gun at the agents there, right? And then fled in his car down the down the interstate, where they blocked off both sides of the freeway there, and there was a big standoff. After which he raised his gun, so they shot him dead, and now he's dead. Some people were kind of wondering, what's with the nail gun? Right. Well, apparently, Ricky Schiffer is a big-time MAGA Trump supporter and posted his plan on fucking Truth Social. And while he was at the standoff, this is what he said on Truth Social. Well, I thought I had a way through the bulletproof glass, and I didn't. If you don't hear from me, it's true I tried attacking the FBI. If I was taken off the internet, the FBI got me, or they sent the regular cops while the shooting occurs, right? So, basically, he brought the nail gun because he was going to use it to get through the bulletproof glass. Apparently, that's what the nail gun was for. Right? Turns out that, so Ricky Schiffer was a big-time MAGA supporter. He was at the January 6th insurrection. So, you know, it's a fucking traitor. Let's remember that. Everybody that was at that insurrection, if you were at that insurrection, you know, like, you're a traitor. You're not a patriot. You're the opposite of a patriot. Stealing an election is like, you know, exactly fits the definition of fucking traitor as far as I'm concerned. Right? So, if you support those people, go fuck yourself. Anyway. He was also apparently an anti-vax conspiracy theorist, and of course believed that the election was stolen. I mean, all of the fucking Trump people believe the election was stolen at this point. Right? He replied in a response to other people who commented on it. He said that you should shoot FBI agents on sight. He said that people should arm themselves and be ready for combat. On Truth Social, he replied to a post by Marjorie Taylor Greene where she said, "I know they're trying 1984, but I'm feeling 2016 vibes." He replied to that post by saying, "Congresswoman Greene, they got away with fixing elections in plain sight. It's over. The next step is the one we used in 1776. So basically using Donald Trump's own platform to spread fear, hatred, and calls for violence. Of course, his after this shooting, his account has been suspended. But, you know, maybe it would have helped if the Truth Social people were, I don't know, stopping this kind of hate speech, this kind of dangerous calls for violence on their platform to begin with. You know? Just goes to show, folks, these lies like this, when people like Jesse Waters or Dan Bongino or Donald Trump get up in front of millions and millions of people and spread lies, it has consequences. A man is dead now because he drank the fucking Flavor-Aid, right? You know, I say Flavor-Aid because, you know, the Jonestown Massacre, it was actually Flavor-Aid and not Kool-Aid. Although there was a video of them that showed that they had Kool-Aid as well. So, but still, you know, he drank the fucking magic elixir there. He bought the fucking, you know, furry trout farm. He is caught hook, line, and sinker into the right-wing propaganda and lies, and it cost him his life. So this stuff has consequences. It's not just some crazy person on TV ranting and raving about the government. You know, as we've seen, it's like it has consequences for our democracy, if we even are going to have a democracy after this next election, right? The next time, if we're even going to have a democracy, the next time a fucking Republican wins, it has consequences for, you know, just our everyday lives. Right? Ricky Schiffer had a family. Ricky Schiffer had a mother and a father, probably brothers and sisters, people who cared about him. And he's dead now. He's dead now because he believed this bullshit that radicalized him. And that's what we're really seeing when we watch this stuff. When you see Fox News get up and post a, you know, a doctored picture, right? You know, did we show that? Fox News broadcast a photoshopped image of this judge. You know, did you see this thing? It's like this. This is the judge that, you know, what was it? Clearly photoshopped image of this judge. Yeah, let me show this. Last thing that I want to show you guys, right? This is a thing that Fox News posted. See this? This is a picture of what's her name? Maxwell. Right, and this is the judge that approved the FBI raid. Somebody, you know, let's just go straight to this Twitter, right? This is the tweet. Somebody photoshopped this image of him sitting here drinking whiskey and eating Oreos, right? Turns out that's not him at all. This is actually a photoshopped picture of, you know, the picture is actually of Epstein, and they just put this guy's face on it, right? That's like, you know, and you can look at it, look at the fucking, you know, look at the picture here, right? It even has a watermark of, like, you know, what I mean to say. Fox News took this picture they downloaded off the internet and just put it on their fucking, put it on their, you know, broadcast that on the news in front of millions and millions of people, right? Now there will be people who will believe until the end of time. There will be people who believe until the day they die that the judge who signed off on the warrant for the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago was getting a foot massage by fucking Ghislaine Maxwell while he was eating Oreos and drinking whiskey. Right? This shit matters. It matters because it has a real cost in real people's actual fucking lives. A man is dead now because of this, and who knows how many other insane fucking ridiculous MAGA chuds are gonna go out and start mass shootings because they want to LARP like they're the fucking, like the South is rising again in the second Civil War. Who knows how many more people are going to be hurt because of this, right? This is why. Fight back against this stuff, folks. Anyway, that's all I got. So before I end here, I need to go through my ending stuff. You know, please, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. You know, it really does help. It really does help when, you know, with the algorithm or whatever. What the fuck? Hang on. I'm just opening up my stuff here. Sorry, guys. If you like what I do and you want to, you know, help me monetarily, give me a second. Let me just turn on my window. There we go. If you like what I do, you want to help me out, you want to support the channel, you can buy something from my Etsy shop. This is my Etsy shop here. I sell stuff. I have prints and things like that. Here's one that I just put up. This is actually fan art for another channel, a guy named Cyrus the Skeptic. If you haven't seen him on YouTube, please check him out. He's awesome. But anyway, I sell prints, stuff like that. So please consider checking me out on Etsy. If you want to see more of my artwork, you can check me out on DeviantArt here. This is where I put all of the work that I do on the channel, whatever. Here's a Minotaur that I drew the other day. If you like, you know, want to see more of my artwork and stuff like that. All up on DeviantArt there. I have a webcomic that has ninjas and stuff in it. Oh. What the fuck? Why is that? Okay. Something is wrong with my webcomic. I'm sorry to say. It was up the other day. But anyway, it's at hawanja.com. Please check it out. I'll have to see what's happening there. And then also I do have another YouTube channel called UCD Videos that you can check out if you want to see me talk about toys and games and stuff like that. So please consider, you know, checking me out across all my social medias and all that other stuff. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lewis the Hedgehog. Great to see you as always. Thank you, Dynacat Loves Me. You're awesome. Thank you, Adversary Fandon. Great to see you. Frater Perpetus Kogi. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. Hive Science. Great to see you. Loud Shark, great to see you too, and everybody else who stopped in. We will be back next Saturday at 11 for sure, and I'm most likely going to try to stream again at least one time during the week. I'll give you all notice. You're all great. Really appreciate you all. Thank you so much.